So pretend you're this runner. A few weeks ago, you were feeling great. Your runs were clicking, you had energy, and you actually felt like yourself. But then something happened. Maybe it was a bad run that wrecked your confidence. Maybe work, family, or life stress got in the way. Or maybe it's something you can't quite put your finger on. You just don't feel like running anymore. Suddenly, your quick break turns into a full week off, then 2 weeks off. Your running shoes are collecting dust, and every time you think about going for a run, it feels harder and harder to start. And here's the kicker. You want to run. You know that you'll feel better once you do it, but you just can't. And the worst part, the longer you stay in this rut, the more that self-doubt creeps in. Maybe I'm just too old for this. Maybe I've lost it completely. Maybe I'll never get back to where I once was. Listen, every runner goes through this. And if you're over 45, it's even more common. Your body is changing, your hormones are shifting, you don't recover quite like you used to, and let's be honest, balancing running with kids, grandkids, work, or even caregiving, it is a lot. But here's the good news. You can get out of this rut. And today, I'm giving you a step-by-step plan to do it the smart way. This isn't just about pushing through or waiting for motivation to magically come back. It's about rebuilding your momentum in a way that works for your body, your life, and your reality. And if you've ever thought, why do I keep falling into these cycles? Stick around, because there's one thing we need to talk about that most female runners over the age of 45 never address. Let's get into it. Here's the truth. Motivation is unreliable. It's not going to show up at your door one morning and knock on the door and say, hey, let's go for a run. Motivation is like a flaky friend. It only shows up when things are already going well. So instead of waiting to feel like running, you have to start before you feel ready. And that means doing the smallest possible action. When I struggled with depression and getting out of bed, my psychologist told me to break things down into smaller bits. As an example, if I needed to be functional that day, she would say, no, break it down smaller than that. Oh, well, I need to shower. No, break it down even smaller than that. You just need to get up and walk to the shower. The rest then takes care of itself with baby steps. And so with running, it's not, I have to run 8Ks. It's not even, I have to run at all. Just go, I'm going to put on my running shoes today and step outside. That's it. That's the only goal. Because here's what happens. Once you're outside, you'll probably think, well, I'm here, I might as well go for a little jog. And the rest will take care of itself. And if not, that's fine too. Because the point isn't to run yet. The point is to start showing up again. Steve Magnus, who is an elite running coach, measured what the defining factor was for his college athletes who performed the best. And the answer was, did they show up to practice? Those who missed the fewest days had the best performance. So aim to just show up. Action creates momentum, and momentum brings motivation, not the other way around. Here's the thing, your why for running at 45 isn't the same as it was at 25. Back then, maybe you ran to hit a new PB or to fit into a smaller size, but now your why has changed. Maybe you run because it helps with stress, anxiety, or hormonal shifts. Or maybe you run because it makes you feel strong in a body that sometimes feels foreign. Reconnect with that. Write it down. Write it on a post-it and stick it onto your bathroom mirror. Say it out loud. Because when you have a clear why, it's a lot easier to push through the I don't feel like it moments. If you're struggling for a why that's within yourself, try to find a why that is bigger than you, like running a race for a charity that is close to your heart. Let that get you started and get you to fall in love with the process again. Studies show that it's the internal validation rather than the external validation that is sustainable. And so we want to fall back in love with the process of training. Often, external validation is a bottomless pit. So to find an external, fall in love with the process and then find an internal why that keeps you going. You do not need to pick up where you left off. One of the biggest reasons runners stay stuck in a rut is because they set the bar too high. You think, I used to run 5Ks so easily, so I should be able to do that now. But here's the reality. Your body needs a gradual re-entry. So instead of jumping straight back into your old routine, scale back a little bit. Cut your runs in half. slow down your pace, walk when you need to, do run-walk intervals. Importantly, drop your ego. When we get this right, we realize that we need to train for where we are now and not where we want to be. That way, we stop constantly beating ourselves up. Drop the bar a little bit, hit that goal, then set that bar a little bit higher again. Hit that goal, and then set the bar a little bit higher. Small bites over time will eventually get you to your goal. This isn't a step backwards. In fact, it's a step forward in a way that actually works, because the alternative is beating yourself up, feeling discouraged, and quitting all over again. If running feels harder than it used to, here's something most female runners over the age of 45 don't realize. It might not be your fitness, it might be your muscle loss. After 40, women lose muscle much faster than men, and when your stabilizing muscles weaken, running feels clunky, exhausting, and a lot more injury prone. This is why elite runners prioritize strength training, because it makes every step easier. And if you're thinking, I don't have time for strength training, let me ask you this. Do you have time for injuries? That's why I've put together a free strength plan for female runners over the age of 45. It's short, simple, and designed to make running feel effortless again. You can download it by scanning this QR code or clicking the link in the description below. Strength first, then running gets easier. You've already wasted too much time debating whether you should run. Stop negotiating, stop overanalyzing, stop waiting for the perfect moment. Set a 5-minute timer, and when it goes off, you're at the door. No thinking, no excuses. Because the hardest part of the run isn't the run itself, it's starting. All right, so now you have the smart strategy to break out of a running rut without waiting for motivation, without feeling guilty, and without making it harder than it needs to be. But here's the thing. Getting out of a rut is only part of the journey. If you're over 45, you need to start having some real conversations about what's happening to your body, because no one talks about how the hormonal changes, confidence issues, and self-doubt impact your running. And that's exactly what we cover in my next video, Uncomfortable Conversations Female Runners Over the Age of 45 Must Have. Trust me, this is the stuff you need to hear.